Hi lovelies! I don't know about you, but I find as the weather cools down during the autumn months, I can't help but crave some serious comfort food. And today I am satisfying that craving with this ultra delicious and ultra decadent loaded mac and cheese. So this is all the yumminess of a classic mac and cheese, except amped up with the toppings from a loaded baked potato, like crumbled bacon, sour cream, and green onion. This is the perfect dish to make on a lazy weekend when you've got a little extra time, and it does feed a crowd. So if you have some guests coming over, it might be the perfect way to indulge. Now, to get started, I'm going to be cooking up my pasta. So I've got some water boiling, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add my pasta to the water and let it cook according to package directions. I've opted for macaroni here, but you can honestly use any type of pasta you want in this recipe. Pretty much anything you have in your pantry will do. Once my pasta is cooking, I'm gonna turn my attention to my skillet. I've got this heating up over medium-high heat, and the first step is going to be cooking up some bacon. So obviously when you're talking about a loaded mac and cheese, the first ingredient you think about is bacon. So we're gonna start by cooking up some chopped bacon in our skillet until it's nice and brown and crispy. Now you can really add as much or as little bacon here as you want to. I've got 6 slices that I've chopped up, and I'm just gonna let that cook away until it's nice and brown and crispy. And then I'm going to use a slotted spoon to remove my bacon from the pan. I'll transfer it to a plate and set it aside. Now, one of the most important parts of this recipe is preserving all that bacony goodness in the pan. So we are actually going to be using the bacon fat to cook up our delicious, creamy, cheesy mac and cheese sauce. So I've got about 2 tablespoons of bacon fat in my pan, and to that I'm going to add a little bit of butter, and I'm just gonna let that melt down. You'll wanna make sure your heat is no higher at this point than medium-low to medium, because otherwise everything will just scorch and it will not be a good situation. And just as soon as that butter is melted, we're gonna go ahead and add some flour to this. Now the flour is what's going to help us create this nice, rich, thick, creamy cheese sauce, but it's really important once that flour hits the pan to keep it moving. So you're gonna wanna whisk this mixture constantly for about a minute or so. We're just sort of trying to cook off that floury taste and create what's called a roux. And a roux is basically just a combination of fat and flour, and those 2 things become the thickening agent that's going to get your sauce nice and rich and thick and delicious. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and slowly start to add my milk. It's important while you're adding your milk to whisk so that it gets fully incorporated with that flour and fat mixture. And you'll notice almost instantly as that milk heats up, it starts to turn into this really thick, lovely, velvety sauce. Next, it's time to add some flavor to this. So here I'm using a little bit of paprika, not smoked paprika, just regular sweet paprika is fine, and some garlic powder. I'm gonna whisk that in until it's well incorporated. And just as soon as it's combined, I know it's time to add my cheese to this. Now this is one of those places in life I always recommend adding cheese that you have shredded yourself. So the shredded cheese that you buy at most supermarkets is great for things like tacos or to put on top of pasta, whatnot. But it's not ideal for something like mac and cheese because it's got these sort of additives that help it not clump together, and those additives don't make for a really nice texture in your mac and cheese. What you want is a nice big chunk of sharp cheddar cheese that you're gonna shred yourself. And I'm just gonna stir that constantly until the cheese is completely melted. Needless to say, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, this sauce is super cheesy and super delicious and ready for our pasta to be added. Okay, so I've reduced my heat to low, I've drained my pasta, and now it's time to just transfer it right into my cheese sauce. And we're just gonna stir this until all of that pasta is coated in that incredible cheese sauce. As you can see, I was not shy with my cheese, and I'm also not sad about it. We've got ultra creamy, ultra cheesy mac and cheese here. And I'm just going to add one more ingredient before it's ready to serve. Now, because we are making loaded mac and cheese, we of course need some sour cream to complement all that yummy bacon and the cheese and the green onions. I know, it's like, how could it possibly get any richer? And then you see the sour cream get added and you're like, oh, it actually can get richer. Once that sour cream is all mixed in, this yumminess is ready to serve. And trust me, you will be ready to eat. That is a 10 out of 10 out of 10. It's so good. It's exactly what you want on a cold fall day. I recommend topping it with some of that amazing bacon, a little more shredded cheddar cheese, some more sour cream, and some freshly chopped green onion. Don't forget the green onion here. It really makes it extra incredible. As my daughter Elle would say, easy peasy mac and cheesy. Guys, I hope you love this super indulgent recipe as much as I do and that you will give it a try for yourselves. If you do, don't forget to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. This recipe, like all of my recipes, is available on the domesticgeek.com and linked in the description box below, so you can find the full written recipe with all the measurements and ingredients there. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.